Cypher boss. And you can build the army that can do it.
Just one thing, Kaz. This isn't about the past. We're fighting for the future.
I share your urgency, but we need more time to finish it.
Right.
Legendary game designer Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear Solid games have always been known for pushing gaming to the next level. Ever since Metal Gear Solid 1 introduced gamers to a completely new, cinematic approach to game design back in 1998, the Metal Gear series has managed to stay relevant up until this day and has been one of publisher Konami's flagship series. Now that the long-lasting partnership between Kojima and Konami has come to an end, fans were all the more excited to see what the officially final entry in the series, Metal Gear Solid V, Phantom Pain, would have to offer. And boy, does it deliver. The Phantom Pain picks up right where 2014's prequel, Ground Zeroes, left off. After the destruction of Big Boss's base and the fall of his organization, Militaires Sans Frontières, the boss finds himself strapped to a bed in a hospital in Cyprus after waking up from a coma. 9 years have passed, and just like you'd expect from a Metal Gear game, the Phantom Pain starts out with a series of lengthy cutscenes that are interrupted by comparatively short sequences of gameplay. However, after about 1 hour of sneaking away through a hospital as a means of getting introduced to the game's core mechanics, things are starting to become less and less familiar. Subsequent to said tutorial, players are dropped in a huge game world, Afghanistan, and are pretty much free to do whatever they like. This doesn't mean that the Phantom Pain doesn't stay true to its predecessor's core gameplay experience though. The tactical stealth gameplay the series is known for is still intact, and while the fact that this is an open world naturally also causes some changes to the formula, I found pretty much all of them to be enrichments. Due to the Phantom Pain being a fully blown open world game, situations can now be tackled any way you want, which now makes stealth feel less like a confined puzzle and much more like a way to creatively approach a scenario. You can also freely choose which weapons and even allies you want to take in a battle with you, depending on what you think will suit the situation best. And if a plan doesn't work out, you can still go back and exchange your entire loadout at the press of a button. All of this doesn't only add a lot of freedom to the gameplay experience, but also makes it a lot more accessible and a lot less frustrating, since you can always undertake a mission in a completely different way after getting shot in the face by an enemy. In addition to the more open main missions, there are even side missions in the game, and even though they are rather small and aren't really fleshed out, they're still a fun diversion. Apart from taking on missions, you can also just roam the open world collecting cassette tapes of awesome 80s pop music, infiltrating enemy outposts, or just collecting materials to further the development of your very own organization Diamond Dog Space, known as Mother Base. I'm aware that all of the things listed above might not even sound all that impressive on paper, but combined with Metal Gear's trademark stealth gameplay, they all make for a completely new experience that's not just revolutionary for the Metal Gear Solid series itself, but also for gaming as a whole. One could argue that games like Dishonored and Assassin's Creed already managed to create an open world stealth experience similar to this. However, neither of them ever offer enough necessary components to truly make for a never before seen combination of those two elements. The gameplay isn't even where the freedom ends though, since you can even customize your own logo, Big Boss himself, as well as your allies. Hell, you don't even have to go on missions as Big Boss himself, and can instead choose to play as a Diamond Dog staff member. I could probably go on about crazy stuff like this for hours, but the fact that I can't stress enough how much freedom you have in this game should speak volumes about how awesomely open the Phantom Pain is.
Out like a light. Now approach him and extract him. Good.
Even though the Phantom Pain leaves the series' core gameplay mechanics untouched, it still manages to improve upon certain aspects. Ground Zeroes' great controls have mostly been carried over, and while Metal Gear Solid 4 already proved to be a lot less sophisticated controls-wise, there is a clear improvement here. Additionally, just like Ground Zeroes, the Phantom Pain is running at a smooth frame rate of 60 frames per second, which makes the already sleek controls feel even better. And even though some aspects, like riding your horse, which oddly enough makes you press a completely different button for going faster from when you're on foot, could still be more streamlined, the Phantom Pain is easily the best controlling main entry in the series to date. The AI, on the other hand, could still be a little less dumb, and while it's certainly decent, it is probably the only area the Phantom Pain's core gameplay doesn't really show any leaps over previous entries in. However, while the Phantom Pain's essential gameplay mechanics aren't a huge departure from Ground Zeroes, it isn't just a larger version of 2014's demo-like prequel. Due to its huge world, you're handed more tools than ever before in the series, the most noteworthy being the infamous Fulton device. Using it, you can extract vehicles, containers, animals, and even people and send them to your base and vice versa by attaching balloons. Yes, balloons to your object or living being of choice. This also means that you're able to deploy one of 4 vastly different allies in the area to help you do all sorts of stuff. For example, while the, mysterious and incredibly half-naked sniper Quiet can scour your surroundings for you and is also a pretty good shot, D-Dog can sniff out and distract foes for you. What's great about this is that your allies' abilities aren't static and can change and evolve depending on how often you deploy them and which equipment you choose to have them equipped. You can even pet D-Dog and make D-Horse take a dump if you feel like it, among many other stupid things. There's also just so much to do outside of missions. You can upgrade Mother Base, develop new weapons and other devices, train with your staff by punching them in the guts, or just visit fellow Diamond Dogs back at Mother Base. Since this is a Kojima game though, this incredible attention to detail isn't limited to obvious elements of course, as there are countless little, seemingly insignificant things in the game that as a whole all add to the experience. For instance, your chopper can blow away enemies for you on its own if they get too close, your staff members salute you when you come closer, and wild animals you extract via Fulton are put in a zoo back at your base, where they all have their individual compounds. In addition to that, changes to Mother Base are actually visible, and platforms that are still under construction are actually being built by your staff when you visit them. Apart from that, the Phantom Pain's solid visuals also add to the immersion, and while the Fox engine does seem to have some trouble rendering vegetation and ground textures, which is especially notable in the second location you'll visit, Africa, the fact that the Phantom Pain is running at 60 frames per second with visuals this good is still commendable. Metal Gear Solid games have always been known for their great cinematic presentation, and the Phantom Pain is no different. The cinematography during cutscenes is excellent. Hell, Kojima can even make a freaking coffee mug look cool, and Kiefer Sutherland as Big Boss, even though I wish he talked a little more, is a great addition to the fold as well. However, seeing that the Phantom Pain's mission structure is a lot more open, important story missions are a little sparse, especially for a game in a series that is known for featuring incredibly many, incredibly long cutscenes. All of the exposition is now delivered through cassette tapes you can listen to whenever you like. However, I never really felt the urge to listen to up to about 10 minutes of 2 characters talking to each other while trying to shoot an enemy in the head with a sniper rifle. Luckily, the Phantom Pain's plot is a lot less sophisticated than those of previous entries, which made things a lot easier to follow, despite, or maybe even because of, the smaller amount of cutscenes in the game. The smaller quantity of cutscenes in the Phantom Pain also affects the extent of Kojima's wacky writing, and while there are still some really goofy moments in the game, most of the really dumb, funny moments the fans love the series for now come from the player's interactions with the world, rather than its story. Overall, the story, while still being totally insane, feels a lot more grounded this time around, so much so that I'd actually compare its tone to that of an old Bond movie. You know, still kinda wacky, but not as insane as previous entries. Nonetheless, the series is great. Over-the-top boss battles make a return, and they're awesome. The level of creativity that can be found here is simply outstanding, and well, there isn't anything that's remotely close to what Metal Gear Solid 1's infamous Psycho Mantis fight had to offer. Phantom Pain's boss battles are still leagues above what most Metal games would. All in all, the Phantom Pain's presentation and story are excellent. However, there is one pretty big problem here. In order to get all of the admittedly pretty awesome conclusions to every character's story, you have to play through previously completed missions again, only at a much higher difficulty. While those missions can provide you with a nice challenge, I still feel like hiding so much essential story content behind a wall of difficulty is just unnecessary and kind of alienates weaker players. Besides that, even if you are a more experienced player, going through some of those missions just feels like work, and you might as well just end up watching the whole thing on YouTube. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain is an outstanding game. While 2014's small-scale Ground Zeroes might have raised some doubts, The Phantom Pain proves to be one of the best, if not the best, game of the generation so far. Even though hardcore fans might find the story content a little too sparse, and I don't necessarily think locking away the game's actual ending was a good choice, its great gameplay and attention to detail more than make up for it. The Phantom Pain is by far the best Metal Gear game to date, and its great open world will keep fans coming back for more long after completing its about 45 hours long campaign.
When the time comes, I'll pull the trigger.